Hi there, I'm Robbie Jeanette. I'm the Curious Musician with Brian Haas. Brian is a piano player I have known for a long time. And I got to say, Brian, when I moved to LA and I first really started seeing you guys and getting to know you, you were a guy that when I saw you, I don't want to say it scared me, but it was very intimidating to see you play, especially probably the first time I saw Jacob Fred Jazz Odyssey and sit back and watch you do what to me were amazing, unexplainable things that were just flowing out of your mind. And it was always inspiring, always something that sent me to the piano to like keep working at my thing. But I love the bar that you've raised in the world of improvisational piano. Don't leave me just yet.
I'm here.
And I wanted to open with that because you've always been in my mind in the modern world of piano playing such a unique iconoclast, and you've really made a path for yourself that is unlike anybody that I know. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so a lot of people who might know you might be familiar with the things that you've done, but people who don't know you, um, what would you tell people that you're best known or most recognized for, musically speaking?
Well, I currently play with a lot of different bands, but the band that most people associate me with is Jacob Fred Jazz Odyssey. Um, Let me just put Cagney down. See if I can get her to stay put in her bed. She's very frisky all of a sudden, of course. The
It
second I
happens.
second I need her to be chill. Come here, my love. So I mean, a lot of people, Jacob Fred for years we did 300 shows a year. We were really, really, really pushing our concept in a religious way. I mean, if John Coltrane is your religion, then that's the religious concept that we were pushing.
Yeah.
Um, so most people would know me from Jacob Fred. Uh, I'm also very deeply associated with Mike Dillon, one of the
Yep.
world's greatest composers and vibraphonists. He's on tour right now with Les Claypool. But Mike Dillon and I have been in a musical partnership since 97 or 98.
Wow.
And so I'm also associated with Mike. But I'm lucky enough being based out of New Orleans for most of every year. I'm in Santa Fe right now because it's summer, and that changes New Orleans greatly.
Yes.
Um, but I'm lucky enough to be able to play with a lot of really forward-thinking, progressive musicians who aren't heavily limited by academia or preconceived notions about what music is, about what improvisation is.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really known as an improviser, and I mean, I feel just incredibly grateful I can make a living improvising and playing with a variety of different groups where improvisation is the main focus.
Yeah.
One of the main bands I play with right now is Nolatet. We just put out our third album, and that's a band where it's myself and three of my heroes. I mean, with the current state of the music business and just the current state of planet Earth, people have a very short attention span. And so I would say right now I probably play with 10 different projects, and none of them play jazz standards. None of them are tourist jazz. None of them are tribute bands. None of those bands play the music of the Grateful Dead. I'm just very, very lucky. The music that I play is music that is deeply, deeply meaningful to me every second that I'm on stage doing it.
I feel like
So,
every project that you're in is I don't want to say boundaryless because you create a sound with Nolatet and with different projects that you've been in, but there's not a label for it. You're not coming into a style. You're creating your own wing on whatever building people would try to attach to jazz or New Orleans or whatever. And I really respect that because to create something new and not just copy what's come before is hard. And a lot of people, when you're young, you try to copy styles, right? I copied Elton John and Billy Joel stylings, as a teenager, trying to do whatever I thought to do. But as you get inspired by different things, and you've always been an inspired guy, things change until you're on your own path, and then you're just inspiring yourself, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm also really lucky that all the people I work with are people who I find super inspiring.
Yes.
From Nikki Glaspie to Helen Gillet, we have a band called Tefra.
Hmm.
Um, then Nolatet, it's My Heroes. With Jacob Fred, it's Reed Mathis and Jason Smart. They're playing at an insanely high level. They always challenge me.
Yes.
I have Compulsion Trio, that's myself and Skerrick and Stanton Moore. I have the Compersion Quartet, that's one of the greatest living drummers, Simon Lott, with Skerrick and James Singleton and myself. I mean, all of the ensembles are super focused on, I guess, what you would call creative improvised music.
Yeah.
Johnny Vodakovich has gotten us away from using the word jazz because people will immediately think you're talking about Najee or the Yellow Jackets or something like. I mean, people like the lowest common denominator public listener who I'm always striving to make music for.
Yeah.
When they hear the word jazz, they just think smooth jazz, and
Interesting.
they're not thinking Coltrane.
Right.
They're not thinking of Love Supreme. They're not thinking First Meditations. They're
Right.
thinking some kind of smooth jazz that's on the local radio station. And so
Yeah.
Johnny Vodakovich is really, Johnny V is one of the greatest drummers alive. He's Stanton Moore's teacher, Brian Blade's teacher. If you don't know Johnny Vodakovich, he's super easy to find. He's been on hundreds of albums. But Johnny has really gotten us away from using the word jazz. Nicholas Payton has also gotten us away from using the word jazz. He makes fun of us every time we use it. So it really is creative improvised music, and all of us, we love all genres. We're
Right.
not like genre addicted. Like, I mean, everybody I play with is at their core just a huge music fan.
Right.
And so we love every style of music. And so when we're creating new creative improvised music, whether it's totally from scratch, like Tefra, or Compulsion or Compersion, those three bands, Tefra, Compulsion Trio, Compersion Quartet, we make everything from scratch. No preconceived notions. But our mission statement is to make the music beautiful, not
Yeah.
make it chaotic, right?
Right.
Or Nolatet or Jacob Fred, where we are actually playing compositions, but it's still heavily improvised. Our goal is to make beautiful music.
Yes, which you do, but also sometimes challenging music. Also sometimes music that you're not quite sure where it's going, but you're along for this journey. I remember there was a point in the early Jacob Fred, early 2000s shows where maybe you guys were going a little more out, and we were talking about the balance of having to kind of bring people back into a space where they kind of get what's going on before you take them to outer space again, you know?
Yeah.
All yang, no yin.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. As we've gotten older, we've become better people. And I always say, if you want to become a better musician, first become a better person.
I like that.
So we've all become better at being good humans. And so we've become better musicians and more grounded. And our music has become less chaotic. And I think it's, even when it is totally free improv, what I hear through the grapevine is that it's still very listenable.
I love that. So yeah, and it's funny because jazz, it does carry connotations, and it's funny trying to put Skerrick and Najee in the same, like to draw a line between those two players is wild. But jazz is kind of like rock and roll, where it's a very big umbrella and it keeps stretching, and a lot of things can fit under it. Whereas something like country or reggae or blues is a little more rigid, and if you get too far
Sure.
out, you're not in.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
we're heavily influenced by all of that, especially rock and roll. Like,
Yeah.
my God, when you say rock music, I mean, it just means so many different things.
Yeah.
I mean, two bands that make me laugh that have almost the exact same band name, but the music could not be more difficult. I mean, more different. They're both rock bands. You've got Goose and you've got Geese.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so funny to me. People get them confused all the time. And I mean, they're both rock bands, but
Yeah.
my gosh, like, they're so completely different. And that's what makes rock music so beautiful, is that it's just so all over the place. And I wish people had more of an open mind. Like when you say jazz, I wish they thought of 100 different things,
Right.
like you would if you say rock. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, they don't. They just think Kenny G. They think smooth jazz, and
Right.
so Johnny Vodakovich is such a teacher of mine, and I'm also lucky enough to play with him in Nolatet. And he's like, brah, stop, tell that promoter to stop calling it jazz. It's going to ruin the gig. And I'm like, yeah, Johnny, I'll call him, I'll text him, I'll send an email. He's like, brah, I saw the promo for Denver. They call this jazz. It's going to kill it. No women are going to show up. I'm like, yeah, Johnny, I'll let him know. Creative improvised music from New Orleans. It's not jazz. It's beyond jazz. It's something new. And I
Yeah.
mean, jazz education in a lot of ways. I mean, I've heard, of course, dude, I'm a student of this music and I
Yeah.
love music. So once a year, when that time of year comes around, I listen to every single jazz thing that won a Grammy, whether it's
Okay.
for the instrumental music
Right.
category, because it's my dream to win a Grammy someday. Any musician who says that they don't care about winning a Grammy, I know I know that to a degree it's rigged and it's like a good old boy network. I know that, but any musician who says they don't care about winning a Grammy is lying. It's a great medal of honor for just years and decades and hundreds of thousands of hours of hard work. So it's like I'm always curious. Well, what won Grammys this year? I'm always very open minded,
Yeah.
and jazz academia and just music school in general is trying as hard as it can. You and I have been having this conversation literally almost 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I have one of those Keyboard Magazine articles framed here in the house, right?
Yeah.
We've been having the same conversation where I'm like, going to school for music is only 5%.
Yes.
You still have to create your own voice and develop a soul inside your body.
Yes.
And I'm just so amazed at how much shit wins Grammys where I'm like, I mean, this has a lot of notes, but
Right.
it is soulless. Like, you guys need to go out in the woods and do some praying and some meditating. Get naked, roll around in the dirt, and cry a little bit. Like, my God, man.
So
This is the
do you think that early jazz, because there was such a struggle, civil rights struggle and whatnot, that some of that struggle was what made that music so like intense and people wanting to move it forward? That we don't have that kind of a struggle in the jazz world now? I don't
maybe
know.
so. I think that's a part of it, right? But also just like life was dirtier back then. There was no such thing as hand sanitizer.
Right.
Life was filthy.
Yeah.
And so the music reflected the filth of real life. Now everybody washes their hands a million times a day and is constantly scrubbing hand sanitizer on themselves and wearing masks everywhere, and everything's got to be clean and perfect, and oh my God, it's got to be shiny. And I mean, I just don't think that's a recipe for good music. I
I
mean,
mean, as a piano player, which you and I both are, I don't like getting stuff on my fingers, so I'll wash my hands just because if I had
yeah.
peanut
Well,
butter.
we got
or
to
something.
we got to keep this thing clean. We got to keep
Yes.
our hands clean. You can't play if you're sticking to the instrument. But I guess I just mean like back, people weren't taking showers 3 times a day. It was okay if you could smell people's armpits.
Yeah.
Just like simple things like that, I think made the music richer, earthier, more
Yeah.
honest. Like I told you, I'm a student of music, bro. I love music more than anybody I know. And I always go through and listen to everything that won Grammys. And sometimes I'm like, whoa, this is brilliant. I didn't even know these cats were this brilliant. And sometimes I'm like, this is the safest, cleanest, sterile bullshit I've ever heard in my entire life. Like,
Yep.
who would even want to listen to this?
Right.
So, it's just a constant process of maintaining your sense of humor,
Yes.
maintaining a sense of humility, practicing non-judgment, always being thankful for your friend's success, always being thankful for your enemy's success, like always finding a way like, man, I hate this guy's music, but I'm so glad he's not embedded in the pharmaceutical military industrial complex. I'm so glad he's not shipping weapons to Israel right now. At least he's making music.
Right.
I fucking hate his music. I can barely stand to listen to 16 bars. But man, thank God he's not a pharmaceutical salesman, or he's not like a defense contractor working for Lockheed Martin. Thank
Right.
God he's making music. So it's always like about finding a way to be thankful for other people's success.
Right.
Always, man.
And
That's one of the most important things is like listen to it. You can go, okay. Instead of saying I hate it, what I can say is like, okay, that's not for me.
right.
That's not for me.
Right.
I'm so glad that this brother who used to open up for me at the Knitting Factory or who used to open up for me at every Jazz Fest, I'm so glad he's just won 3 Grammys.
Yeah.
Good for him. And,
Yeah.
and you know what? If he can do it, I can do it. You know? And
Yep.
then people say, well, what do you think about his music? I'm like, it's not for me.
Right. It's just a gentle way to put it off.
It's not for me. But man, he's not working for Lockheed Martin.
Yep.
So God bless him.
So
He's making music, you know? Music's the most important thing.
Right. With you doing so much live improvisational music, we're in an age where obviously people talk about AI creating music, and the one place AI cannot create music is the stage. So to me,
Yep.
the stage is the last place. When I say the stage, I mean studio, wherever you are, where you have to actually touch an instrument and play. That's the last bastion of reality. You know what I mean?
Like,
So,
who would have thought that you and I chose the safest thing to do for a living?
I mean, in some ways, it seems like a radical act. There was a time where playing piano and playing boogie and blues felt like being a buggy whip, maker in the age of the automobile. And then all of a sudden, now we're rare birds because who plays
Totally.
piano anymore? You know?
Exactly. Exactly. Like,
Weird.
I'll roll into venues with a Fender Rhodes and people will be like, I've only heard of these.
Right.
I didn't think anybody actually still used one.
Or what's that organ that you got there?
Yeah. So a buddy of mine who's in Silicon Valley, always been a devotee of new tech. He recently presented a list of the safest jobs that AI will never be able to usurp. And professional touring musician was one of them.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Makes sense.
I was like, yay, I made it.
I mean, even if you could make a robot that could sit at a piano, and why would you have to make a humanoid? You could just make the piano play itself, but make
Yeah.
a robot that sits at the piano and plays any piece that you wanted to. It's still not as exciting as flesh and blood touching
Yeah.
wood and
It would
string.
just sound like most of the shit that wins Grammys.
Yeah, it's so. Yeah, the last bastion of reality is our minds and the piano. And the piano, look, for the history of the instrument, going back to the 1700s, Christophorian, all the iterations of it. Once we got into the well-tempered, tunings and whatnot, it's an equalizer. So you and I sit at an instrument without pedals, without amps, without changing tones, and that instrument is what it is. You can't really do anything different to it,
Yeah.
but when you play it, making your personality come out, being recognizable. You hear Thelonious Monk, and within a couple notes, it's Monk. How hard is it to
Yeah.
be recognizable within a
When
few
you hear
notes on piano?
when you hear this, oh, that's Monk.
So what he did in my mind is he took dissonance, which was not good, and added it to rhythm and percussion and made it good.
Dude, he combined Bartok and Prokofiev with the blues.
Yeah. And so I read a fact that he wrote something in the realm of 70, 75 pieces. Duke Ellington wrote over 1,000, but Thelonious's 70 or so pieces have been covered and recorded more than all of Duke's.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. It's because of the uniqueness of the voice.
Yeah.
Duke also was a great pianist, incredible
Amazing.
composer, but just nobody, the voice that Monk came up with. The first jazz record I ever got into was that funny, ugly, tan, yellow record of Monk's. It's got it's like ochre. It's this funny yellow, and it's
Okay.
called Genius of Modern Music, Volume 1. Every song is like 2 minutes.
Okay.
And that changed my life forever because I didn't think that I would be able to play within the jazz idiom when I was 16.
Well, what were you listening to right before that record came to you? What was your musical upbringing up until then?
It was all deep classical. Like I was training when Sean Layton handed me that Thelonious Monk album. I was training for the 1997 Van Cliburn, so I was amassing huge amounts of material.
Yeah.
I had just given my I was on a full ride scholarship for classical music at University of Tulsa. I had just given my junior recital first semester of my freshman year. I gave my senior recital second semester of my freshman year with all different material. So in my freshman year, I gave my junior recital and my senior recital because I was amassing huge amounts of material, because to make it into the Van Cliburn, you have to have all that memorized.
Yeah.
You know, it's like 5 Beethoven piano concertos, 3 Mozart piano concertos, a Bartok piano concerto of your choosing, a Prokofiev piano concerto of your choosing, 5 Mozart piano sonatas, this piece. You could choose, but it all had to be, you had to have a certain amount. It was basically like you would just show up there, like 50 hours of music fully memorized. So when Sean Layton, who was eventually the drummer in Jacob Fred, handed me that Thelonious Monk album, I literally scoffed at it. And I scoffed at it. I said, I would never quit classical music. And Sean said, because I was just 16, he could hear me in the practice rooms playing the shit out of all this material, playing circles around all the college kids. And Sean Layton goes, well, I've been listening to you practice now for a couple of months, and you playing classical music is an absolute waste of your talent.
Wow.
He's like, you can think whatever you want, say whatever you want. He was like, I'm sorry that you've been indoctrinated into this lie, but you playing classical music is a waste. Check out this dude. And I went home. Well, actually, I put it in my truck on the drive from TU back to my parents' house in Broken Arrow. I knew within the first song that's what I would do for a living.
That's amazing.
Because it made jazz accessible and understandable to me. That one Monk record showed me, oh, jazz isn't about sounding like all these incredible young prodigies. Jazz is about sounding like yourself.
Yeah. That's
when I had that, and that's why there's so many cats in the business who I'm not super impressed with, because I could list you 15 pianists who have been on the cover of Downbeat, and all they're good at is copying Herbie.
Yeah.
That's really all they're good at. They don't have their own voice. All they're good at is copying Herbie from this area, from this era. A little bit of Herbie from this era, some 70s shit, his 80s duo stuff with Wayne. Like, I'm just like, you guys are just stringing together Herbie licks. You guys have nothing unique, nothing that's really your own voice. And so
yeah,
I never wanted to do that. And also, I'm not good at that. I'm not good. And so that's something else that's key. Like, I'm not good at sounding like other people.
Yeah.
Which that's been a detriment to my career, but it's also enabled me to just fully be myself and create my own sound.
Well, that's the opposite of a detriment, is that you were able to become more of yourself and to become something unique.
It's better. It's more of a viable long-term concept.
Yeah.
What the jazz industrial complex supports is imitators.
Yeah.
It does not support innovators.
Well, a lot of people innovate by going avant-garde, and then it's squeak squonk, and
then it's too much.
They're thinking you have to be anti-melodic to innovate, and that's not the case.
No. All you got to do to innovate is be yourself. Yeah. And have the courage to be yourself and not copy other people.
Right.
So my trajectory is more of a long-term concept with long-term more spiritual rewards and less short-term bullshit accolades from a dying industry. And I'm fine with that.
With all the playing that you do, and I'm sure playing in different bands, you get to do different versions of yourself and different iterations, but how do you kind of get out of your old patterns? How do you try to keep freshening up and changing what you do as you evolve, when we all know there's, a limited amount of notes, patterns, there's no 15th chord, there's no key of H, you know what I mean? It ends and it infinitely loops like a circuit board, right? So how do you keep moving into fresh ideas when, like me, you wear patterns into your brain over time that are comfortable, or runs? Like when you hear Art Tatum and he does these runs down the piano, it's like, you've done those for your whole life.
Dude, what a beast. God, I worship him. I have so much of him on vinyl. And yeah, he does have some things that he does to set the piano on fire, to set the room on fire, and also to cleanse his own palate, right?
Right.
So the answer to your question is full straight edge sobriety.
Really?
I just celebrated, I guess the 21st of June was 1 year sober from all ganja, all THC, all cannabis related materials.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I'm 3 years sober from booze. I don't
Good.
talk about this, but since you asked,
Yeah.
I'll answer your question. You're also one of my oldest friends, so I
Yes.
have no problem communicating this to you. Um, it was about a year ago, a little over a year ago. I heard myself play the same. I was on tour with Mike Dillon and Nikki Glaspie.
Yep.
I heard myself play the same roughly 8 bar lick 2 nights in a row.
Hmm.
So this is a direct answer to your question.
Yeah.
And I knew on stage I would not be smoking cannabis ever again for the rest of my life.
Rest of your life.
Oh, yeah.
Big statement.
There's no reason to. I've already learned everything I need to know from it.
Right.
One of the greatest teachers
Yep.
ever. Ever.
Yeah.
Cannabis has been one of the greatest allies. But I've had enough.
Yep.
And when you're saturated, you're saturated.
For sure.
I literally smoked weed that was grown by Jesus, Bob Marley, and Louis Armstrong all together holding hands, touching cocks.
Yes.
I have smoked that weed. I have smoked the weed that was grown by Coltrane, that was grown by Louis Armstrong, grown by Bob Marley, and all his ancestors. I have actually smoked that weed. You know I have.
I know you have.
You've smelled my jars.
I've smelled those jars.
But the thing is, none of that weed made me a better musician or artist. It made me think I was playing better, but it never made me play any better. And I came here, and that's the interesting thing about alcohol and really all drugs, like
Yeah.
whether it's MDMA on stage or cannabis on stage, whatever it may be, it always makes you think that you sound better. It never makes the audience think that you sound better, ever.
Yeah.
So this is a direct answer to your question. This is not me proselytizing for sobriety.
Sure.
People will find that on their own accord, or they
course.
won't. It's not my business.
Right.
But I can tell you, you asked me a question. How do you make sure you don't play licks? The way I make sure I don't play licks is by fucking raw dogging life every day.
Yep.
Straight edge sobriety, bro. That's the only way I can make sure I don't play licks.
Straight edge sobriety is the new high.
Bro, I am so fucking high doing this shit. It's insane.
Yeah, man.
I have to take calcium, magnesium every night, L-theanine, melatonin, dude. I get in bed and I'm just like, get up and practice, get up and practice, get up and compose. You almost finished that song. You need to do your left hand exercises. You need to do arpeggios. You need to do sevenths. You know, it's like, I am so fucking high from being sober. It is completely nuts.
I love that for you. You just reminded me of there's a clip of Duke Ellington on, who was the talk show guy? I forgot. He was talking, he has huge bags under his eyes. He's talking about his sleep patterns. And he says, if I get music in my head, I wake up and I go pursue it. So sometimes I don't sleep, or I sleep an hour, or it's just, I constantly, if it's in my head, I got to get it out.
Yeah.
Dick Cavett.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah. It was Dick. Yeah. So I take magnesium threonate, which just puts your brain to sleep. I take theanine. I take great melatonin made by Quicksilver. And I take crushed up cow bone. I take microcrystalline hydroxyapatite.
Wow.
So I have a very, very specific thing that I have to take every night to go to sleep. Or, bro, I'll just end up back at the fucking piano.
Right.
I know but yeah, man, when I heard myself repeat that 8-bar phrase, it was crazy. It was not intentional. It was completely came from my subconscious. But just like the night before, it was a packed show, and everybody in the audience went, "Ah!" And so what happens? 2 nights in a row, you play the same shit. Everybody in the audience goes, "Oh!" When you do it, well, what do you think's gonna fucking happen on the third night? You're gonna do it again. And so I don't want to play.
Yeah.
I don't want to play music like that, bro. I'm a John Coltrane devotee. John Coltrane did not play licks. And
Right.
when McCoy was in John's band, McCoy did not play licks. Now, there are a couple. We won't go into that. But there are a few things that McCoy would do to, like, reset the stage and to get Elvin to come down in volume.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge that. But like, dude, Coltrane did not play fucking licks, and I'm a Coltrane devotee. Like,
Yeah.
when I'm on my deathbed, and another reason I'm straight edge sober is because when I am on my deathbed, I want to die knowing I gave this life 192%. I don't want to be on my deathbed wondering, could I have been better? Could I do better? No
Yeah.
way. Bro, these are deathbed practices. I'm 52 years old. I'm halfway dead. I don't have time to fuck around anymore.
Yeah, man.
No more fucking around. No more playing around. Straight edge sobriety. I still fuck with coffee. You can tell.
Yeah. And wheatgrass, I'm sure.
Yeah, I fuck with wheatgrass. I'm super into natural medicine.
Yep.
Um,
You always
but
have
bro, I want to be on my deathbed. When I die, when I'm laying there fucking dying, I want to know I gave this life everything I could.
100%. And you are. I mean, I've never seen you in a phase of your musical career where you're not doing something incredible or turning. I mean, it's been a joy to watch and to be able to play with you at some times or just watch you up close. Again, it's always inspiring, and it leads me wanting to dig deeper into going back to the classical upbringing that you had. Sometimes in that situation, you're tasked with, here, play this composer or play that because you have to. What were the composers that like set you off and gave you like a really good interest back then, but also which ones have you carried with you that are kind of still your guys, your back pocket guys,
Well, J.S. Bach's voice leading.
Beautiful.
So J.S. Bach, Mozart,
Beautiful.
Beethoven,
Yes.
right?
The stuff that Beethoven did right at the end of his life, those very
Oh,
last, you know what I'm talking about, right?
oh my God, bro! That fifth piano concerto,
Talk about on your deathbed and being deaf and
the
still
gross,
trying to
the gross
scratch.
fugue, just pushing so hard.
Yeah. I mean, he, again, people who changed everything in some ways just by being themselves, you know?
Hindemith's Mathis der Mahler, the greatest symphonic works of all time. Listen to it when we get off of this call.
I will.
Mathis der Mahler by Hindemith. You'll be like, oh my God. That's where Haas gets so much of his harmonic call and response. Bartok string quartets, all the Prokofiev's piano concertos, all the Prokofiev's symphonies, Stravinsky's symphonies, Shostakovich symphonies.
Yeah.
I meant to say Stravinsky's orchestral works and Shostakovich's symphonies.
Yeah.
What else? Bartok piano concertos. That's what I was playing when I quit classical music. I was
Wow.
playing Bartok's second and third piano concerto, and they were completely ruining my life. And I'm
Well, how
still,
so?
they're impossible. They're impossible.
So when you
You got,
quit, when you switched
they're just
over,
impossible.
when you switched out of classical, did you basically just not play classical anymore, or were you still for a while trying to keep your chops, your classical chops up?
I had to get that 4-year degree from TU.
Yeah.
I had to keep playing classical music, even though I'd already given my junior recital first semester freshman year, senior recital second semester my freshman year.
Right.
I still had to play classical music all the way through the end of my senior year. But bro, the second I graduated from TU, I completely quit playing classical music.
And haven't really played since, aside from little snippets.
Yeah, I mean everything I just played for you right there obviously was just completely improvised.
Yeah.
I mean that was just me imitating the
Yes.
composers I was speaking about, right?
Right.
Like all of the great composers have something to offer. All of them. There's something to learn from all of them. Like Chopin's Etudes, I learned so much from his piano music and from
Yeah.
his piano concerto. I mean, Ravel's string quartet, Debussy's string quartet. Oh my God! You know, they each only wrote one string quartet.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
So when you're looking around on Apple Music, usually they're on the same album. It'll be
Yeah.
string quartets, Ravel, Debussy. Listen to those back to back. The harmonic information just in those two pieces of music, you spend a lifetime trying to decipher just the Ravel string quartet and the Debussy string quartet. Holy shit.
Now, back then, before recording, the only way you could record and write was on sheet music. So I feel like in the age of the great composers, let's say, Handel, 1720, Bach, back in those ages, Vivaldi, all the way up to, 1920, kind of when classical was dominant, like a good 200 years. I think that's why people composed like that, was because it was all composing on paper, whereas nowadays, because unless you lock yourself in a cabin with only sheet music, you're using electronics, you're using different things, you can record on your phone,
Yeah.
So is that why you think maybe, or why I think that we don't have modern Mozarts and composers, because nobody actually composes that way anymore?
I mean, they exist. Like I brought up Sean Layton from Jacob Fred. He was a drummer who composed directly from the ether into his head into a pencil on paper. I mean, I watched him do it all the time. I have one of the pieces that he did here in my books. I mean, I can show it to you. Like he literally, I keep it just as a reminder because I'm composing constantly. I use Dorico to compose.
Yep.
So Sean Layton, I watched him do this. He wrote this blues for a transphobian exile while I was sitting at his house. He wrote out the B, and then he transposed the B flat part just sitting there.
Wow.
Like my first inspiration, the guy who got me out of classical music, he was one of the greatest musicians I've ever been around in my entire life. If he would have been able to stay alive and not kill himself, Sean Layton would be a modern day Mozart.
Man.
I watched him write this. That's why I keep this piece.
Yeah.
Because it's just insane. This is the original. He didn't make any mistakes. This is not the corrected version. And then he put a cup of coffee down on it right after he wrote it. See?
Yeah. That's great.
Like, it was nothing to him. He made no corrections. He literally sat there. He heard it in his head, wrote it directly down. But I mean, he's one in a billion. Like, there's very few people like this still alive. I mean, I use Dorico. Stuff will come into my head. I sit, I put it into Dorico. I'll play it on a little tiny Akai kind of MIDI thing into the Dorico program. And then I hit play. And then I go, oh, that sounds like shit. And then I'll change it and I'll alter it.
Yep.
But it's trial and error, right?
Right.
There are cats alive. Maybe they all end up killing themselves because of the chaos of this modern age. But we still have
head.
we still have Mozarts and Beethovens. It's just it's such a strange time, right, bro? Like,
right.
In order for anybody to pay attention to your music now, your capitalism has to be as creative as your art.
Sadly.
I mean, true Mozarts and Beethovens, they're probably wandering around out in the woods wearing gunny sacks and sandals. I don't know.
I mean, you think about all of the people whose music has been lost. I mean, Bach's music was almost lost. I think it was Mendelssohn who had saved his transcripts, his sheets, or something.
I think so.
Something like the amount.
It was
of music,
it was one of his students, right?
I vaguely.
It could have been Bach's son.
But that could have easily been lost, and then the impact of all that music would have. So Mozart had a sister that was supposedly super talented, but women weren't given the opportunity to go to
Yeah,
school to write for an orchestra. So,
totally.
or you could be a guy in the desert in Sudan with frickin' symphonies firing off in your head and no way to do anything. Although
Yeah,
now with an iPhone, what
yeah,
can't you do?
yeah.
We might end up capturing more music. Talk to me about piano players in classical for just a moment. One of the albums that I love is Rubinstein's album of Chopin's Nocturnes.
Oh,
And his touch, obviously,
perfection.
the deeper you are into classical, the more players you would know. But hearing that made me realize that the player bringing this music to life makes a big difference, while at the same time,
Yep.
the way that pianos were tuned back when Chopin and Liszt were playing Pleyel pianos, and they had, each section of the piano almost had a different sound to it. Um, we're hearing somebody playing in a temperament that it wasn't written in. How do you feel about this in terms of reproducing the music as it was originally intended?
Well, it has to do with the soul of the person translating.
Yeah,
It's like we said earlier. If you want to be a better musician, become a better human. Like
yeah,
I really do think it has to do with the depth of that human who's engaging in the recreation. Like a great example would be, as a kid, I didn't really care that much about Bach's preludes and fugues until I heard Glenn Gould play them.
yeah.
And then I started going down a Glenn Gould wormhole, and then the way he reinvents the Mozart piano sonatas with all the incorrect, he plays all the wrong markings and wrong
Right.
tempos and just makes them all his.
And that was controversial at the time
Oh,
because you're not
God,
supposed to touch the
I know.
masters, right?
And that to me, Glenn Gould made me fall in love with classical piano again.
It's amazing to me how a player like to talk about Rubinstein and to
Yep,
talk about the
that
difference.
touch on the nocturnes, come on.
But
I
it's like,
mean,
was it Frank Zappa? I think had the quote, "Talking about music is like dancing about architecture."
yeah,
And so, how do you quantify what makes it so great? Just the touch, the soul, the feel.
it's
But
him.
it's
It's the same way like people like will ask me about a specific drummer.
yeah,
And I'm like, I don't know. It's the feel.
yeah.
It can't be. It's not technique. It's not
It's
technique.
no,
It's like Johnny Vodakovich, Simon Lott,
yeah.
Matt Chamberlain, Brian Blade.
They're all different. It's not like Neil
Why
Peart
do
and
we?
Johnny V are going to be on side by side doing the same thing.
Why do we love it so much? It's the feel. Like Mikey and I have done some gigs with the ex drummer from Humphreys McGee, Chris
Yeah,
Myers,
yeah,
and we're like, Mike and I are literally on stage like with our jaws dropped because you bring in a cat, you're like, oh, he's a badass drummer, he's got great chops, yeah, we'll see what he can do.
yeah.
No, 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 no. It's feel. It's something intangible I cannot describe. Like some of the shit Chris Myers has done live on the bandstand, Mikey and I are just standing there watching and listening. We completely forget to come in. We're just like, what are you doing to the song? It's never done this.
I
This
love that.
song's never sounded like this. And it's, yeah, sure, Chris has great technique. Yeah, he studied with one of the Zappa guys. Sure, he's put in the time. Thousands and thousands and thousands of hours, right? Just
Yeah,
like Matt Chamberlain,
yeah.
just like Johnny V, just like Simon Lott, just like Stanton Moore, some of the people Nikki Glaspie, of course.
Although with
And
Matt Chamberlain, that album you did, Prometheus Rising,
yeah,
when he was looping you while you were playing with
yeah,
him, that's its own
I know.
level of like I when you were describing that to me, you're like, I'm playing with him, and then I'm hearing loops coming in. I'm realizing while he's playing some very
Yeah,
complicated, cool stuff, he's also listening to me on a level where he's looping me against myself.
yeah.
Like the listening it takes for that, and
Incredible.
again, like feel and the ability to listen. If you're going to teach a kid or give a kid advice nowadays, hey, you're coming up in music, feel and listening, they're so hard to like, they're so intangible in some
Yeah,
ways that it's hard to, what advice do you give to improve your feel and your listening other than just keep playing, keep listening,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I'm so lucky. All the drummers I play with are at that level. Literally
Yes.
all of them. All of them. They all have their own feel, their own voice. Nikki Glaspie,
Oh,
the shit she's
amazing.
been doing lately, unfathomable.
I love her drumming.
Oh my God. It's like three different symphonies coalescing and agreeing on a common theme. I mean, it's just so yeah, I mean, it is feel, and it's that same way with pianists. Like, why does Gould? It's the way Gould plays the well-tempered clavier. It's not the technique. There's
Yeah.
millions of pianists with the same kind of technique. It's the feel, and the
Yep.
feel is an intangible spiritual thing.
Yep.
Same with the way Rubinstein plays Chopin's nocturnes,
Yep.
or like the way, let's say, Vladimir Ashkenazi plays Prokofiev.
That's it.
The way Ashkenazi plays the Prokofiev piano concertos, they never need to be played ever again, ever, ever. He
That's interesting.
completely defined how to play that music, and he's Russian.
Yeah.
He's a Russian Jew, you know, and it's like, oh my God. It's like Prokofiev wrote the piano concertos for Vladimir Ashkenazi to play them.
Amazing.
When you hear, I'm getting goosebumps right now. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it is just completely unfathomable. And of course, there's a million pianists who have, Emmanuel Ax has a better technique than Ashkenazi. Ashkenazi's more of like a battlefield warrior.
Yeah.
But like nobody can hang with the way he plays certain things, man.
It's something to give an individual like playing of something that is iconic that other people have played and really make it your own is just that extra level in that
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Pretty
Incredible.
amazing.
So that's something I work on all the time at the piano
Uh,
is lightness of touch. Always creating new exercises. Always creating new arpeggios, new scales that don't exist, that challenge my hands to do brand new shapes,
Yep.
brand new things, right?
Yep.
And do it lightly. Do it with class. Do it with taste. Do it with tenderness. Do it with femininity. I try to play as lightly as I can.
And
then
yet
when I
you're a pugilist sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I like to think of you remember Bruce Lee, he had the 1 inch punch where he'd hold his fist and without recoil with 1 inch, his whole body would go into it. I feel like every finger that hits a key is that 1 inch punch. And the dynamic of hitting it softly still has your whole spine behind it because
100%.
we're really playing from our wings. We're, when you hunch over, you got about like here up. The
Yeah,
minute you sit up straight, you got your wings. So even if
totally.
you're playing soft, that 1 inch punch is bringing out the snap and the pop of the note,
100%. Like sometimes I do intensives here at the house where I bring it only works with professional musicians. You have to be a professional pianist in order for it to make sense.
Okay.
But I'll bring in somebody, they'll give me a nice chunk of change and we'll do an intensive here in Santa Fe. And one of the first things that I work on is teaching pianists to play the piano with their legs and their spine instead of playing the piano with their fingers and their hands and their arms.
Yes.
You're never going to get past a certain point if you think playing the piano is something you do with your hands and your arms and your fingers.
Right.
It's just not the case. That's not how you become a brilliant pianist.
Full body.
It's full body. You start with your toes and you work up.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to really activate your spine. And so I have, extra yoga mats here for the pianists that come here for the intensives. And you don't get to sit at the piano unless you can get on the yoga mat.
Nice.
Because there's just certain things that you'll never be able to do on the instrument ever.
I like
Unless,
it. And I like the
unless
idea.
unless you can do a few things on the yoga mat that are very specific, you're never going to get your pianism past a certain point.
The idea of playing from your feet. Two
Toes.
things. One, and from your toes. There was an interview I randomly saw years ago of Julio Iglesias. He was on Oprah, and he was describing he has these certain leather Italian shoes because when he sings, he curls his toes when he gets certain emotions. And I remember thinking that was so cool because he's
That
really
is dope.
drawing from his toes. So when you
Yeah.
said that, that's really is great. I had always grown up too hard on the pedal. And one of
Yeah.
my mentors, Gene Oster, who you met, I remember he saying to me, "Got to lay off that pedal. Come on, lay off that pedal." So sometimes when I sit and practice or mess around, I'll just keep my feet off the pedal
Yep.
and keep it as syncopated as possible. Some songs that I write are dependent on a pedal sound, but When you get into syncopation and stuff like that, the pedal needs to stay out of the way. Being in New Orleans,
I was going to
and
say some of my Fender Rhodes pianos I tour with don't have a sustain pedal.
yeah, no,
I sustain with my hands.
like an organ player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need a sustain pedal. It can be a great crutch.
Yes.
And there's a really interesting, as long as you brought up pedal,
Yeah.
there's a great pianist who I really love in New Orleans. His name is Oscar Rossignoli.
Okay.
What he does with the soft pedal, he and I did a double solo piano concert of the music of James Singleton on
Nice.
like one of the best Steinways I've ever been on. And Oscar and I, very different styles, but they're very complementary. What Oscar does with the soft pedal completely changed my life.
Wow.
Changed my life.
I never used that pedal.
I never did until I heard Oscar Rossignoli do it live. It was brilliant.
Wow.
And it informed his entire concept. I would say in some ways what I saw him do was based around the soft pedal.
Wow.
Because he only did certain things when the soft pedal was down. And the soft pedal was down a lot. And he would only release the soft pedal and play full sound when certain things were accomplished.
Wow.
It was like there was a checklist of things that had to happen with the soft pedal down before the soft pedal was allowed to be released.
Amazing.
It was, bro,
And you wouldn't have thought of that because, again, with the piano, you feel like everything's been done, but no.
bro, this kid, what he did with the soft pedal and how he let it control what he did on the piano
Yep.
was truly brilliant.
We will have to investigate him.
You're going to have to probably see him do it live. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's on his solo piano record that he just put out. I'm sure he's crushing the soft pedal.
But it might not be something that when you're listening to the record, you register that.
I'm
is what's
curious. I
happening.
need to listen to the record on my home stereo system.
Yeah.
I've listened to it in the car. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But like what he did live with the soft pedal, pianists take note. There's a whole set of colors and shapes that we are completely disregarding by
love
not using the soft pedal.
Man, I love that.
So man, I've incorporated into my practice here at both my New Orleans piano and my Santa Fe piano. I've been
Yep.
using the soft pedal a ton. Changes everything. It
So when you-
changes.
When you
it
say the
changes
soft
how
pedal, middle
Check-
pedal or left pedal?
left pedal.
Left pedal.
He also uses the middle pedal sometimes, but check this out. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Here's full sound. Here's soft pedal.
Yeah. That's really cool.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like
Really
a
cool.
whole different trip.
Yeah. And I can hear when you lift it off and it's, brightens up.
Ah, and then it murmurs and it contemplates and it like goes super internal and it becomes like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like you become like quiet and private and like you're really like trying to flesh out this idea, and then you let off the pedal and the idea explodes and you're able to make the statement, and then you go into contemplation and you go into private, you go into a mode of secrecy,
Oh, I
and
love it.
then and then you determine this is worth saying, and you let it explode. I
Yeah.
mean, bro.
I know what. As soon as we're off of this, I'm going to go and step on the left pedal and just get to it. Let me ask you, because I know we're going to wrap up here in a moment. You're in New Orleans. There's a history of piano in New Orleans that is deep. Um, Guys like James Booker define kind of the sound of New Orleans in some ways. Roosevelt Sykes,
Yeah.
always a touchstone for me. What of the New Orleans piano history are you more in touch with now, being there so much?
Well, Johnny and James were the rhythm section for James Booker.
Which puts you in an interesting driver's seat. Like,
100%.
yeah,
I mean, Johnny Vodakovich has only been French kissed by one man, James
and
Booker.
and he had an eye patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, only one man was quick enough to get his tongue in Johnny Vodakovich's mouth, bro.
You still have time, bro. You still have time.
It's like, and also they played with Fess a lot. I mean, I'm super influenced by all that.
Yeah.
And I've studied all that. And I bought all the Professor Longhair transcriptions and the James Booker transcriptions. And I've sat there and played through them. I secretly do theme and variations. I don't
Yeah.
do it live, but what I'll do is I'll take a James Booker song, I'll play it, and then I'll start to extrapolate on it.
Yeah.
And I use it as a vehicle for theme and variations, right? So, I mean, I study those pianists, and man, there's some great pianists in that town who are not reenactors.
Right.
But a lot of the pianists in New Orleans are reenacting music that's already been played.
And at least somebody is, in a way. Like,
Yeah, and I mean, some of them are, I mean, they're all super nice guys. I love every single one of them. They're just
Yeah.
great people. I mean, look, man, New Orleans is the friendliest city in the entire world. When you're sitting on your porch sipping coffee in the morning, you better have a few extra chairs on your porch because people are going to stop by. They're going to sit with you. They're going to ask if you have any extra coffee.
Yep.
What are you listening to? Oh, I don't know this Coltrane. Oh, hold on one second. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
New Orleans is the friendliest city on earth. I can tell you, I love every one of my musician friends there. All of them. They're all
Yeah.
just the kindest salt of the earth. The thing is like James Booker wasn't copying anybody else. He was
No.
just being James Booker.
Right.
Professor Longhair wasn't copying anybody else. He was being Professor Longhair.
yeah.
So there's a lot of cats who I love and are my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
They are reenactors, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they make so much money. But I have a different job here on planet Earth. That's what we talked about from the beginning of this interview.
Yep.
For better or worse, I'm not a good reenactor. Maybe if I was, there'd be a tour bus in front of my home right now.
It's your version of somebody. I do the same thing. If I play a song, it's my version of that song. It's not going to sound exactly like that person. Right?
I'm just not a good copycat.
No.
The music business loves copycats. Look, man, I just went back and re-listened to Dr. John's first record, Gree.
Yep.
Holy shit. Nobody's ever made a record that sounded like that.
Vibe for
Dr.
days.
Oh my God, that record is terrifying. I mean, I had to smudge my house afterwards. Pretty sure like some shit came in.
Yeah.
Like, that's my trip is like New Orleans, you gotta like keep your head on a swivel because a lot of cats are playing tourist jazz.
Yep.
A lot of cats are reenactors, and I love all those cats. But
Yep.
like New Orleans is also incredibly supportive of brand new, creative, innovative music.
Yeah.
And so that's my job there is to try to learn when I'm at the practice piano. I learn from Maestro Booker,
Right.
Maestro Longhair, Dr. John. I learn from them. I try to study some of the harmonic things, but like what I'm trying, it's like what I'm good at is making brand new art, brand new music.
Yeah.
For better or worse. For better or worse, it's never been made before. Some people are great reenactors and they get on the cover of Downbeat and they have, 5,000 people at every show. And then some people are innovators and maybe we will be remembered after the fact and maybe we won't. It's not my job to care. I keep trying to expand what I'm good at.
Yep.
Like, after one gig, Johnny Vodakovich came up to me. He's like, he's one of the only people who calls me Brian. But he says it like this. He's like Brian, because he's a yat. So he says it different. He's like Brian. He's like, hey Brian, what city we in? Hey Brian, what time sound check? So after this one gig, he comes up to me. He's like, He's like, hey, Brian, you need to go home and play Indiana in all 12 keys. And I was like, yeah. So I did. It wasn't easy, and I can tell you it was not fun.
Right.
But I am a student of the music. I will
Yeah.
do whatever it takes to get better, including straight edge sobriety.
Yeah.
And I look, man. Every time I go out, I listen to cats. I'm a big music fan. I don't care if they're copycats and reenactors or they're total genius innovators. Look, I learned something from everybody.
Yep.
I'm from the Midwest, bro. I'm not proud. I'm very humble, and I have something I can learn from everybody, including the reenactors who've just been playing the same cover songs
Right.
the last 30 years, and they somehow win Grammys doing it. I can still learn something from them.
Yeah.
I'll hear, oh, how did he do that left hand shit? Oh, shit, that's that Dr. John shit. Dr. John was using 2 fingers in the left hand and 2 fingers in the right hand. That's it. That's
Interesting.
it. That's it. Anything more than 2 in the left and 2 in the right, a buddy of mine studied with him. A great pianist from Mobile, Alabama. His name's Chris Spees. And Chris was like, oh, dude, he said, what'd you do on the intro of that one song? I said, shit, dude, here's what I did. And Spees was like, nah, bro, Dr. John never used more than 1 or 2 fingers in each hand. What are you doing?
Wow.
What do you think this is? Like, you think you're McCoy or Herbie? Like, you don't need to do all that. It's just a couple fingers in each hand makes the fullest sound. It's all about choosing the right notes.
Yeah.
So, the notes that matter, right? So, bro, I learned something from everybody. You know, but the New Orleans thing is a trip because a lot of the cats that make a lot of the money, they're in the business of like reenactment.
Right.
And I'm in a different business. So I respect them and I love them.
Right.
I'm grateful that New Orleans has enough love for all of us. I'm grateful
They do.
New Orleans has enough love so that we can all pay rent together. So I'm just, to me, New Orleans is the live music capital of Earth. And I'm so grateful I get to spend 8 months out of every year there. I pay full-time rent there, whether I'm there or not. And I pay full-time rent in Santa Fe, whether I'm here or not. I pay
Right.
rent in 2 completely opposite places because, you know, I fucking love opposites. I'm a late Pisces, you know. I love extremes.
And I would say that of all the reenactment that can be done, guys like you would be the hardest to reenact because of the way you evolve yourself. Seriously, like a guy like Booker. I played Booker songs, or Mose Allison. I played Mose Allison songs, but to play it like that,
Yeah.
it's like it just sounds a
bro.
certain way. Or Roosevelt Sykes. There's a song by Roosevelt Sykes called New York Boogie, where he's doing this left hand that is so fast, and his right hand he's comping, and he's just talking his way through Harlem and 142nd. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm listening, going like, if I just had to play the piano part, that would be enough. But to just talk over it, like,
Yeah. Well, you know, Johnny Vodakovich does this great version of You Are My Sunshine and sings his ass off on it. And James Singleton is playing the weirdest harmonies. And I just finally, a few days ago, wrote them all down. Because I'm like, these are not the chords to You Are My Sunshine. What the
Right.
fuck is this? Well, then I started texting Johnny about it. And Johnny's like, brah. James didn't come up with those chords. Those are Moses chords. Because, you know, James and Johnny were Moses' rhythm section for years.
yeah,
Mose got James out of Mississippi before he could go to prison. James woke up one morning and ate acid. Was just wandering around the hotel completely naked with a knife.
wow,
And Mose called his friend, who was the sheriff of that county, and said, we need an escort out of here right now. And they got escorted to the Mississippi-Louisiana state line.
damn,
So, like, James and Johnny took that version of You Are My Sunshine from Mose, right?
Yeah.
So then, of course, I couldn't resist because I've been sitting at the fucking piano all day. I
Right.
went down this Mose wormhole.
yep,
What? What? Like, what? Oh, you know, we were both produced by Joel Dorn. So I've got Mose hanging up. His face is hanging up in my New Orleans house.
yep,
But bro, the complexity and depth of his piano playing, mixed with his sense of humor,
Yes.
mixed with the lyrics and the compositions,
right,
what an absolute outsider from every genre. You want to talk about having your own voice, having the balls to completely not fit in anywhere?
yep,
Tell me what style of music Mose Allison is playing. Are you kidding me? It,
It's just American music at a certain point, like the Crusaders. It's American music.
what
Yeah.
is it?
What
It's
is it?
not. It's no genre ever. It's like this mashup of the darkest country, the fucking densest, deepest rock and roll, the most psychedelic jazz. It's like Mose Allison is a great example of what we're talking about when we say we came here to have our own voice, not to be reenactors, not to be
Right.
imitators. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Yeah, you can play a Mose Allison song. And that was what I was doing because I'd already written down his chords for You Are My Sunshine.
Right.
But dude, the way Mose was harmonizing that shit and stacking it so fearlessly
Yeah.
and then singing his ass off, bro, it was just straight up. I have to go back to this. It sounded, the chords and shit sounded like Bartok and Prokofiev. I was like, how are you doing this in a jazz trio context at Newport and not getting like, and not causing riots?
And people think of, when people think of Mose, they think of him as that "You Are My Sunshine," kind of like a genteel. But there's an album, 1982, live at Montreux, called "Lessons in Living," and of all the crazy bands, he had Lou Donaldson on sax, Eric Gale on guitar, Billy Cobham on drums, and Jack Bruce from Cream on bass. I don't know how you put a band like that together, but
And
the song
it's Mose live at Montreux.
Mose live at Montreux. And
I'll listen to it right when we get off the phone.
Yeah, there's a song called "Seventh Son."
Oh, I love that song.
He does. I mean, he goes into a solo that, like, I didn't know he had it in him, kind of thing. Seventh Son, and there's another song on there, but he goes into some solos, and you got Billy Cobham and Jack Bruce, so I'm sure that amplified the proceedings. But I've never heard him do that, and I was like, all right, what else am I missing with this guy?
Well, bro, he's playing all these octaves with all this stride piano, completely fucking with the bass player, making the bassist do something brand new.
Yeah.
I mean, Mose has so much in common with Earl Hines. When I was going back and listening to all this stuff,
Yeah.
because it's so nasty and filthy. Like, yeah, it does not sound like these motherfuckers are taking a shower every day.
Right. And I feel like
Like-
guys like Earl Father Hines, these guys, they're not lost. Any piano player can find their music, UB Blake or whoever, and they had their importance in the day. But it's weird to think of these people as just like, unless you know, you don't know,
Yeah.
Really.
Because Louis Armstrong, Hot Fives, Hot Sevens,
Right.
there's no bassist. Who's playing bass? Earl Hines. He's doing it with his left hand with octaves with stride piano. And I'm telling
Amazing.
you would just sit there and listen to that shit. It's so modern. He was doing that in the 20s and 30s, bro.
Yeah.
So modern, it could have been done this morning. You listen to the voice leading and the harmonic mashing and character that like Earl's coming up with as he's just acting in a support role.
Right.
He's just supporting the call and response of the horns and Lewis and this magic and the soloists, very
Yeah.
quick solos. Each solo's like 8 bars. And dude, Earl is only really in deep support mode for the Hot Fives and the Hot Sevens.
Yeah.
Fuck, bro. Some of the best piano playing I've ever heard in my life.
And those
Like,
recordings obviously are very early, so it's not like these clear recordings where the piano is sitting right there. You kind of got to
Yeah.
tune it in,
Oh my God, bro. His stride piano.
Ridiculous. I mean, guys who came from Stride, Count Basie or whatever, didn't always use it in their career,
Yeah.
but it's there. you
Yeah.
know?
So I practice it every day.
Yeah. Well, I practice blues and boogie every day
Nice.
to keep those chops up
Yeah.
because it is kind of like a static idiom in a way, like the patterns of blues and the patterns of boogie. And I still try to innovate within that a little bit, but I also feel like I have to keep up the generic patterns of it just to keep them under my fingers because even though it's not necessarily in all my music, I want to be able to turn and play blues and boogie straight and have it
Yeah.
be at least my take on it.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a very unique take on all that.
Yeah, I love chatting with you about piano playing and piano players and music. I could do it all day. I know we're probably over the time limit, but
What's our time limit, Bubba?
oh, we don't really have a time limit. We can
Okay,
go for hours
cool.
and hours, but I just don't. We
Yeah,
could
we
do
got
it-
to we got to keep it nice and tight. We can do another one in a couple months or next year or something.
I'd love that, or maybe at some point I'll find you next to each other at a piano, and we can really get
Yeah.
into the nitty gritty. But I love you, man, and I love your journey. I'm really happy with your newfound sobriety and your love for life. So I'm excited for all the music to come. You're just getting
Yeah,
started.
bro. Yeah, if it's people who aren't super aware with my work, I highly recommend checking out the new Nolatet album.
Yeah,
It's called Something to Relax With.
love it.
It's on every streaming platform where you can buy the vinyl.
And with Jacob Fred, what would you say if somebody wanted to dip into Jacob Fred, Walking with Giants, or what would be a
And just listen to Winterwood.
great album?
Just go to Apple Music or Spotify. There's we just finished our 30th album.
Yeah,
We're currently shopping it. So there's, when it comes to Jacob Fred, just go to the streaming platforms, and if there's something you don't like, hit next, because the next
right.
thing's going to be completely different.
Let me actually
Like,
tag on to this conversation. Since you just reunited with Jason and Reed, how has that been? Because to take a break from people that you were like symbiotically
yeah,
mind melding with, and then go your separate ways, get into separate things, Reed's playing guitar and stuff, to come back together,
yeah.
has it felt like a continuation, or does it feel like a new something?
It's very much a new thing, and clubs like to always call it a reunion to make sure it sells out.
Sure.
But my last gig with Combs and Raymer and Jacob Fred was like 2015,
Wow.
and then that next year, myself, Reed, and Jason started playing together.
Wow.
So we've been playing together for 10 years.
Okay.
Even though when you see the hype from the club, they always say Jacob Fred reunion, OG trio. I'm like, it's kind of true. But we did 2 nights in New Orleans 4 years ago. We did 3 nights in the Bay Area 7
Right.
years ago. Like
It's
we,
just
we've
not
continued-
consistent.
Yeah, and Reed and Jason are 2 of my greatest musical companions. I mean, Jason is blowing our minds.
Awesome.
He sounds like every Jacob Fred drummer that's ever come before him, plus himself.
I mean, Raymer's such a unique cat. That the stuff that he does is his own
Yeah,
realm.
Jason is playing way beyond any of that, in my opinion. He's like taking all the Raymer stuff, all the stuff he's learned from Brian Blade and from seeing the Wayne Shorter quartet 5 times, and
Yeah.
all the stuff he's learned from Vodakovich. I mean, Jason has absolutely becoming one of the greatest drummers alive.
I love that.
And I mean, it is absolutely terrifying. And dude, he's writing our best material.
Amazing.
Jason is writing our best new material. A lot of people's favorite new Jacob Fred songs are Jay Smart songs.
Wow. That's
Reed
amazing.
and I are great composers. We're writing great shit. But it really is interesting, the feedback I'll get after shows. People be like, what was that song you ended the first set with? That's the best Jacob Fred song ever. It's like Vernal Equinox and Thelonious Monk is my grandmother and all your best songs rolled into one. I'm like, that's a Jason Smart song.
What does he write on beside? Does he play piano? Does he?
Nord. He writes on a Nord piano
All right.
and then writes it down with pencil to paper.
Years ago, you were in LA and you did a live to disc recording in Gil Tamazian's studio.
Yeah.
You
I
had
would
a
love
bass
to
player.
hear that.
He's got it. You guys, I mean, I know that iteration of the band doesn't exist, but
We should put that out.
I would love to hear that because I remember being in the moment and watching you guys do that, and it was incredible. And
Yeah.
then it
Well,
got
that's the funny
shelved.
thing is Jacob Fred's about to put out our 30th album, and we have 10 albums that will never see the light of day.
Why?
Well, Blue Note paid for a trio album in 2001, and it was me, Reed, and Joe Russo.
Wow.
And they paid for it, put us in the studio, gave us a little advance to make it, and then they heard it, and they were like, we
Damn.
are not putting this out.
Maybe now that Don Was is in there, he'll have a different opinion, you know?
You'd think, but I think his hands are tied in a lot of ways by like corporate malfeasance, by the nature of capitalism. But Blue Note paid for that record in 2000, 2001. They thought they were going to get some West Coast Boogaloo soul life type of shit.
Yeah.
And what they got was like Coltrane and Cecil Taylor giving each other hand jobs.
As well they should. Well, listen, I hope all of the music not yet out gets out because I think people need to hear it all. I really do. There's so much great stuff and no one's going to hear it on a hard drive, you know? So
Yeah.
here's
Man,
to
bro,
releasing them.
we have so much unreleased shit. It's amazing. If somebody gave me a grant, I mean, dude, I've got 4 Brian Haas albums that are just sitting in a New Orleans studio under the name Love Amalgam that are completely unreleased. I just don't know. I just need to set aside some money or use these credit cards and just buckle down and make it happen. It's
I mean, just to
crazy.
put it out on a streaming service doesn't really
Yeah,
cost that much. To promote it, yes. To tour it or anything
yeah,
like that, but just to make it available,
yeah.
you know?
I'm gonna call Calibro right when you and I get off the phone.
Yeah. Tell them I said hello.
I will, because there's so much unreleased shit.
I mean, why? It's like, why not? Because if any one of those catches fire, or any one of just there's somebody out there right now who needs that music. They need to
That's
hear it in their life,
I agree with you.
and that's me.
Thank you for the reminder. I'm
Yeah,
so
I'm
glad
kidding.
it's you. I
I'm
would
gonna
put it out.
kick your ass.
I would put it out just if I could get the guarantee you were going to listen to it. That's enough.
Hell, dude, I'm right here waiting. I am literally sitting here waiting for it. So listen, here's to new music. Here's to releasing all
Amen.
the old music and getting together sometime soon.
Amen, man.
I love you, bro.
I love you too.
I'm gonna stop the recording here, but thank you for joining me.
Yeah, yeah. Stay on for a second. I have a
I,
couple questions for you.
yes, definitely.